Hey everybody, and I'm just doing a report. Basically, this one is just because I've seen all the Ravens fans on the radio and on Facebook. Everybody's jumping off ship, and everybody's saying we're going to go 5-11, maybe only win 2 games this season, and everybody's just in panic mode. I'm here to tell everybody, there's no need to get in panic mode just yet. Yes, the Ravens are down 0-2. I'll get to the first game against the Denver Broncos. It was a tight game all around. It was a game that you looked at maybe, if Flacco doesn't throw that pick six. If Flacco doesn't turn the ball over in that game, the Ravens probably win. Or, that last drive, if, Crockett Gilmore comes up with a touchdown or Steve Smith comes up with that catch, maybe the Ravens win that game. But that's the one that got away from them. And the defense played great that game. I mean, they got a pick six on Peyton. They played well all game. They didn't allow one offensive touchdown. They played awesome. And then you go to the Raiders game, and it was completely flip-flopped. The offense was, I think they went through for over 400 yards of offense in that game. Flacco threw a couple touchdowns. Crockett Gilmore was like beasting in that game, running over people. But the secondary, the pass rush was just not there. They look like JV football out there. It's like, what kind of defense was this last week when you guys are playing a top-notch team in the Broncos and Peyton Manning? And here you guys are playing the Raiders, and now you guys don't look like you can play football all of a sudden. There's no way that the Raiders' offensive line is as good as the Broncos' offensive line. There's no way. And you had Jernigan up there. You had Courtney Upshaw. You had Chris Canty, who's a veteran. You had Brandon Williams and Carl Davis, who's an outstanding rookie prospect. And they couldn't get any pressure on Derek Carr at all. It was just like, and Darius Webb was getting burned all over the field. Jimmy Smith made a mistake and let Amari Cooper down the field and get burnt on. They missed over a total of 11 tackles in that game, which was a team high for the Ravens ever in a single game to miss 11 tackles. So all around, they were just, you thought by them staying out and on the West Coast that they will be able to go ahead and forget about, the jet lag and all that other stuff, but they weren't able to do that. They weren't able to do it at all, and staying out there, I don't know if it caused any more harm than good, but it just seemed like it would. Maybe next time when they get ready for that Broncos against that 49ers trip, maybe they just go back to Baltimore and try something different. That philosophy needs to get thrown to a dumpster somewhere and set on fire. That obviously did not work. But after that game, a lot of Ravens fans came back with sour taste in their mouth. I know I did. Watching that game was just unbelievable. It's like you just saw the safeties and corners get turned around by these, let's face facts, rookie wide receiver and, a number 2 wide receiver at best in Michael Crabtree. He's not an elite guy, but it seemed like they were just getting turned around by him. They just couldn't stop him. So, but I'm here to tell Ravens fans that it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. It's going to be fine. Now a lot of people are saying, like, I'm pretty sure you're saying, like, I know you're crazy because the Bengals are coming up. Then we got the Steelers. And then we got the Browns after that. We got 3 straight divisional games. There's no way we're going to probably go 0-4. Look, this is my philosophy on what just happened in the last 2 weeks. This is probably the best thing that could have happened to the Baltimore Ravens. Let me explain. The Ravens at the beginning of the season were slated to win the Super Bowl. Okay, there was high hopes from Sports Illustrated and all these other analysts had to pick Ravens going to go to the Super Bowl and win it. If you're a Ravens fan and have been a Ravens fan for as long as I have, since '96, since they started, you know that the Ravens never, ever play well when at the beginning of the season, okay, they're in that top 5. Everybody picks them to go to the playoffs, or not the playoffs, but go deep in the playoffs and probably win a Super Bowl. Every single time the Ravens get to that point in the power rankings, they start to slip. Every single time. That's just, they don't handle it well. I don't know what it is. It's just the way the Ravens play. It's been their mantra since '96. It's just the way they are. Since Ray Lewis and Ed Reed have been there. It's just always the way they have played. They never ever live up to that expectation of being good all season. Okay? And every year, as Ravens fans, we've seen this story over and again. I know we get sick of it, but we know the Ravens fall into these trap games where they play down to the competition level of their opponents, knowing they should go out there and stomp these guys. Okay? But they do. They play down to the level of the competition. They did it with the Jaguars for years. They did it with the Raiders, the Redskins. It happens, every year for the Ravens. There's always a trap game the Ravens lose. And we're like scratching our head like, and the Texans that other year when we won the Super Bowl and we got stomped by the Texans. Flacco had one of the worst QBR ratings of his career. Skip Bayless was on that next day saying, no, one way Flacco's an elite quarterback, and the Ravens that year won a Super Bowl. Okay? Now, 0-2, the Ravens have been brought back down to earth, right where they belong. The Ravens operate the best when they're the underdog. Okay, I guarantee you every analyst coming into this game, coming Sunday evening, even though the Ravens are playing at home, because the Bengals are 2-0 right now, and they have A.J. Green, and they have Joe Bernard, and Jeremy Hill, Tyler Eifert, the tight end's been playing well, and Andy Dalton during the regular season always plays well. They have a really good defense. I'm pretty sure they said, oh, yeah, the Bengals are going to come into Baltimore, and they're going to beat up on the Ravens, man. The way they play against the Raiders, there's no way. This is the way the Ravens love playing football. They've always have. Now that the chips are down, now that everybody's turned against them again, no one's, puffing them up. No one's, has them, on their back anymore. The world's against them again, like they always have been for, their entire existence. Everybody was propping up the Ravens, and now they're right back down to earth. They dropped in that power ranking. They have like 5 slots at number 17, where they're almost irrelevant at this point. So that's right where the Ravens belong. That's right where they need to be. Okay, that's where the Ravens played their best football. Okay, and let's remember, when you begin this football season, both away games, a long way from home. You played in Colorado, tough loss. Then you go to Oakland on the other coast. You stay there all week. You haven't been home. A lot of guys may have gotten homesick, haven't seen their families, whatever. Any trip where the East Coast team goes to West Coast and vice versa, West Coast team to the East Coast, is difficult regardless. Just because you're so away from your family and they had too much free time in their hands, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They had played a bad game. I look at it this way. At least they got it out of the way now, early. Okay? They have the Bengals coming up. They got the Steelers and they got the Browns. Let's remember, okay, divisional games, regardless of the records of any team that we play in our division, and we know this, even though we're 0-2, we played the Bengals when they were 0-2. We played the Browns when they were 0-2 and have lost to both of those teams, okay, when they were 0-2, and we played them in divisional games. Those divisional games don't matter. When it comes to records, it doesn't matter. Okay, it comes down to the Ravens have 2 home games, okay, against the 3 divisional opponents. Okay, so they got to play away at the Steelers, and they're going to play home against the Browns and go against the Bengals. They should win 2 out of those 3. Okay, that should put them at what? They should be 2-3. I should put them at 2-3. Okay, which is not bad. Okay, that's a great makeup for them. If they can get 2 wins in a division, okay, that's a big step up for them. That means we're back in it. Okay, now, you get the Cowboys who are 2-0. Everybody's up in arms. They're like, the Cowboys 2-0. They're doing awesome. Browns had a good game this past week. The Redskins, 1-1. But let's face facts. Let's remember here. Everybody gets so. I know it's the NFL and it seems like a very short season, but it's still a long season at the same time. Same thing in basketball and baseball and hockey. It doesn't matter which sport it is. When you look at the teams early in the season and how they're doing, look at them when they hit towards the end of the season. That's how that team really is at that point. Okay, unless they just completely stink. Early in the season, teams are still trying to find themselves. Now the Ravens just lost Terrell Suggs, a big leader in the defense. Okay, a lot of people said that was the reason why the Ravens lost that game is because Terrell Suggs wasn't in that game. Last time I checked, Suggs doesn't play the other 10 positions on that field. And remember that Terrell Suggs is no Ray Lewis. Just remember that too. Terrell Suggs was the jokester. Okay, he did bring in as far as the intensity and the production was concerned on the field, but he's no Ray Lewis. He's no motivator. He doesn't do all that. Okay, he doesn't do that. The secondary, who had shut down for the most part Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas, didn't allow one passing touchdown against a great quarterback, a Hall of Fame quarterback, and Peyton Manning. Let's remember that. Okay, let's remember that, people. That same defense that gave up 3 or 4 touchdowns to Derek Carr shut down Peyton Manning and that high-powered Broncos offense. Let's remember that. Okay, they stuffed their run game and they got to Peyton Manning 4 times. Okay, if I recall in that game, Suggs didn't get a sack. Mosley got 2, Upshaw got 1, and Canty got 1. Suggs didn't get anything in that game. Okay. Yes, his leadership and production is gone. But let's face facts. After that Achilles tendon tear he had, his production has gone way down. He is nowhere near the All-Pro that he was before he got that tear a couple of years ago. Nowhere near it. Okay. And a lot of teams you see now that are sitting at 2-0. You look at the Colts; they're 0-2. And all the weapons they got Philip Dorsett out of Miami. They got Frank Gore. They got Andre Johnson. T.Y. Hilton's there. They got 2 good tight ends. There's no way they should be 0-2 right now, right? But they are. They're 0-2. They can't seem to move the ball. Andrew Luck threw some turnovers last night. He's a turnover machine. But does anybody actually expect that this team can remain 0-2, the Colts? No. They're going to pick up the ball, and they're going to keep moving. The hardest thing to do in any sport is to stop a losing streak. That's the hardest thing. Once you stop a losing streak, that is the hardest thing to get over. You're in a rut. You don't know what's going right. You can't. You go in the film room and everything, and everybody's like, what did we do right? Because we still lost. We did our best, and we still lost. And you feel terrible about it. But the best thing to do for the Ravens, they come home. They're back in Baltimore this Sunday. They have one of the best home records in the last 10 years of any team in the NFL. Okay. They know how that game is, this game coming up is. They know this is a must-win game for them. Every year the Ravens put us through this as fans. They put us through this. Steve Bisciotti said in a press conference earlier this season, I think, and last season, at the end of last season as well, that he was tired of the Ravens squeaking into the playoffs at 9-7 and 10-6. He wants to win a division. He wants to get a first-round bye. He wants to have some home games, possibly in the AFC Championship game in Baltimore. He said the fans deserve it. It's a shame that all our fans have to travel outside of Baltimore to go see a playoff game. We've had one playoff game in the last, one home playoff game in the last 6 or 7 years. If you think about it, we had the Colts, and then before that, it was Steve McNair, and they played the Colts, and Peyton Manning was still with the Colts. Those are the only 2 games we've had home playoff games. So Steve Bisciotti sent a message earlier in the season to Harbaugh and the rest of the organization, like, the mediocrity at this point will not suffice anymore. We have to get to that next level as a football team. That every year, I don't want them to say, oh, if the Ravens get into the playoffs. He said, I want the Ravens to, when they look at those power rankings and the Ravens step on that field, if they don't do like they just did this week and just wilter under the pressure. I want them to go out in the field and dominate. I don't care who it is out there. I don't care if it's the Broncos. Okay? I don't care if it's the Browns. I don't care if it's the Green Bay Packers. I don't care if it's the Raiders. I want them to go out there and beat the crap out of whoever they're playing on the field because no one can touch them. That's what Steve Bisciotti sent that message to this organization. Like, this is a point in our history as a franchise that we need to make that next step, go to that next level where the Green Bay Packers are, where the Denver Broncos are, where the New England Patriots are. That we just need to get to that next level where it's like, and the Steelers for that matter, where you can get on the field, doesn't matter which field we play on, we're still going to kick your butt. Okay. Now, coming into this game, Steve Smith had a record game, didn't score a touchdown, against the Raiders. But there were some positives. You saw Parker Gilmore turn into a great target for Flacco. The run game started to get going a little bit. Tyler Farrell was back in there, so you saw him make some moves. So they're getting the run game going a little bit. We didn't really see Max Williams, but I feel like we're going to see him a little bit more in this Bengals game. Just because Flacco can't keep throwing to Steve Smith all day. But I think the Ravens coming into this game, with the fans are going to be amped up. They're going to be like, look, this is one game we cannot afford to lose here. We got to go 3 straight games against division opponents. We have to win. Their mindset, we got to win all 3 here. We got to go 3-2. We have to go 3-0. Okay, we forget 0-2. This is now a 14-game schedule for us. Okay, we got to go 3-0. Forget that. Okay, 3-0 from here on out. I know the statistics say that only 12% of the teams, I think since the early 1990s, have made the playoffs at 0-2. Okay. But remember, just 2013, Kansas City Chiefs went 9-0. 9-0. Then they lost the next 6 of their next 8 games. They lost 6 of their next 8 games, including a playoff loss to the Colts. So that means nothing. Okay, they didn't really have any injuries or anything. They won 9 straight games, and then they went on a slump. They lost the next 6 out of 8 games, including the playoff game. Okay? The Patriots went 16-0. Got to the playoffs, to the Super Bowl, and lost. Okay? The Green Bay Packers, when they were 1-2 last year. Okay? 1-2. What did Aaron Rodgers say to his fans? The fans were doing the same thing the Ravens fans are doing right now. If the Ravens beat the Bengals, that's where they will sit right there at 1-2. The same record that the Packers had last year. And Aaron Rodgers was like, relax. He was like, RELAX. Relax. He was like, chill out, calm down. We're going to be fine. Okay? And what did? They ended up making it to the playoffs. They got all the way to the NFC Championship game. Okay? They were 1-2. Way better weapons. My honest opinion, best quarterback in the league. And they were 1-2. 1-2 last year. And fans were jumping off the boat. Fans were ready to just throw the towel in. You were like, I can't believe this. They were in Aaron Rodgers had to make a last-minute touchdown throw to win the game against the Dolphins, who last year weren't as good as they are this year. Okay, the Dolphins have always been on that cusp of being a good team and a bad team, but they haven't really crossed over to the great good team side yet. They're still right there on that line. And they were like, how are the Green Bay Packers not dominating the Miami Dolphins right now? And they got a clutch win against them. You know, everybody was like, even they act like they lost. Now, there's no reason they should have had a close game against them last year. There's no way. But the fans told him to relax. And they came back and they went to the NFC Championship game. A game they should have ended up winning and going to the Super Bowl. But, you know, there's some weird plays that happened, blah, blah, blah. They should have been in the Super Bowl that year. Okay, minus some trick plays here and there. And they got catches the onside kick. You know, it's the Packers and Patriots in the Super Bowl. Team that was 1-2. 1-2. Okay. So the Ravens are coming in Sunday. They know what worked on defense against Denver. They know what worked on offense against the Raiders. They got to mesh those two together. And this is where we'll find out. You know, this is going to be there's a real test for this young team. That they've gone now are 0-2, and now they're hearing it from home, from Baltimore Sun, and from Mike Preston, and 105.7, and all the CSN Baltimore, and the national media. Everybody's down on them now, and everybody was up on them when they were at the Broncos game. Everybody, man, this Ravens defense looks phenomenal. And then come the Raiders game, you know, then everybody's down like, well, I don't know about the Ravens now. I don't think they're gonna make the Super Bowl now. I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs now. I think they're gonna stink it up. Everybody has now retracted their pick after 2 games. 2 games out of 16, and everybody's retracted their statement already. But that's what's going to prove the mettle of this team. Right here, Sunday, against the Cincinnati Bengals, against a tough division opponent. Everybody in the AFC North is a tough division. There's a tough opponent. Okay? And this is going to bring out the true Ravens, what we'll see from them. Okay? It's like, you have the fans backing you, man. You got the fans backing y'all. You're going to be at home. Okay? They're going to be loud. We're going to win this game. No way we're going to let Andy Dalton and A.J. Green come here and do what they did last year. And the little weird plays, they end up winning the game. We're going to come in there, we're going to beat the crap out. We're going to hit Andy Dalton. We're going to pick him off. Flacco's going to dissect that defense. And they're going to run the ball. Rams are going to come in, and they have to come in with that attitude. There's no more, we're going to do enough just to win the game. They got to come with that attitude. We're going to kill these guys. Okay? And we are going to make them wish they didn't come into Baltimore this Sunday. Think, man, I shouldn't have got on that bus. That's what they need that mindset they have to need this Sunday. But that's what I said. It's going to be okay. You panic when after that Steelers game and the Ravens are 0-4, then we can start to panic. Okay? But the Ravens win this Sunday. Okay? And then they got that Steelers game. It's like, hey, you know these Bengals-Steelers games go 50-50. Doesn't matter what the record is. These like that Auburn, Alabama, UNC, Duke, Yankees, who's their rival? Yankees, Orioles, or Yankees, Red Sox. You know, Flyers, Penguins. You know, doesn't matter what the record is when these guys meet up. They're going at it. Doesn't matter. So the Ravens is going to have to come in and like look, and with their backs against the wall now. Okay, this team has something to prove. For years, they've been living under the shadow of Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, and Ed Reed, saying those are the only three guys that have done anything on defense for that team. This team has to now come under that cape, that shroud of those three guys, those three legends right there. Okay, and saying, this is our team. This is the future of the Ravens defense, and we're making it our own. We're going to be the next superstars. You guys are going to be talking about us in 10 years when we're in the Hall of Fame comes up for us. And this is that time for Jimmy, Timmy Jernigan, Brandon Williams, C.J. Mosley. Those guys, this is their time. This is their moment right here. Week 3 at home. When the chips are down. They're only 2.5 favorites. You automatically get 3 when you're at home. So they already took half a point away from the Ravens at home. So it's like, man, the chips are down against us. Their backs are against the wall. So they got to come out there and prove to the rest of the world. And it's going to take a few weeks. Even if they do beat the Bengals. Well, it was only because, it was a tough division game and, those division games go differently. And they'll say that for 3 weeks. If the Ravens end up going 3-0 those 3 weeks and beat the Browns and Bengals and Steelers. Say, all those are tough division games. They're, they're 50-50. It could have gone either way, So it's going to take till about week 8, week 9 for the Ravens to get the kind of credibility they deserve. But that's the way they want it. That's the way they should want it at this point. They build up the confidence of this team. Okay. They go out there and win. Once they win that first game, they're going to taste a victory in their mouths. They're like, man, we did it. We can do this again. We got the Steelers next week. We can go ahead and punch them in the mouth. Okay? So, but that's my little spiel. And like I said, Ravens fans is going to be all right. Those examples I listed, the Packers and the Chiefs and, those teams, the teams that are up, they can fall down, but teams that are down can easily get back up. So it's not over. It's a long season, folks. Long season. Just get ready, wear that purple on Purple Friday. Support our Ravens, and we're not out of it. That way, if we go into that Steelers game and we beat the Steelers, we can tell those Steelers fans, like, hey, y'all lost to the team that lost to the Browns. How do y'all feel? Lost to the Raiders. How y'all feel? Plain and simple. It's a long season, folks. Long season. But hopefully the Ravens win this Sunday, and hopefully I'll see you guys Monday after a win. All right, peace.